Welcome back, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for another explainer. Today, we're taking a hard look at something that affects literally all of us. I mean, whether you're running a massive corporation, starting your own small business, or honestly, just trying to navigate everyday team dynamics at work, this is for you. We are going to dismantle some of the biggest, most common myths about what it actually means to be a true leader. Leadership is such a demanding calling, yet it's kind of surprising how many folks out there consider themselves natural leaders without fully understanding the underlying mechanics. So, let's pull back the curtain, shall we? Okay, let's dive right in by challenging a deeply ingrained assumption. When you picture a leader, what's the very first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's someone barking orders, right? It's this super simplistic notion that leadership is purely about just being in control of other people. But treating leadership like it's just bossing people around, that represents only a tiny and, frankly, highly ineffective fraction of a much larger, way more complex framework.
The absolute crucial point to grasp here is that having authority simply does not automatically qualify you as an effective leader. Think about a human resources manager, for example. Sure, they might hold authority over certain aspects of your career, your benefits, or company policies, but that authoritative position doesn't magically mean they know how to inspire, guide, or truly lead a team. Authority is something granted by a job title on a piece of paper. Leadership is something that has to be actively cultivated and earned.
Section 1. The evolution of authority, from brute force to emotional control.
To really understand why so many people fail at leadership today, we have to look back at how human organization has drastically shifted over time. Historically, power and hierarchy were the primary forces building up or tearing down communities. Millennia ago, ancient monarchs literally destroyed their own empires because they completely misunderstood leadership. They viewed power as just a platform to flex brute strength without any restraint whatsoever. The collapse of those ancient nations wasn't usually about a lack of virtue. No, it happened because rulers acted on pure impulse rather than careful calculation. Then, centuries ago, this misunderstanding birthed these rigid hierarchies where an elite ruler could demand their subjects undertake incredibly perilous journeys for gold, or maintain numerous wives completely unquestioned. But jumping to the present day, the paradigm has entirely flipped. We now live in an era where diplomacy and emotional regulation are the absolute, non-negotiable foundations of leading others. There's a really stark contrast between the outdated concept of power and the modern reality of leadership. Under that old paradigm of power, ruthlessness was literally the only reputation that mattered. If a leader was peaceable or prudent, they were considered weak. You just inherited power by birthright. Today, genuine leadership requires well-rounded, heavily cultivated developmental skills. It is all about choosing diplomacy over conflict, managing your emotions, making decisive choices, and understanding exactly when and to what degree anger is actually appropriate. Barbaric behavior? That's now just a giant red flag signaling an outdated, undeserving leader. You don't need royal lineage anymore, but you absolutely must develop your personal and social abilities to earn your place, blending integrity with serious strategic shrewdness.
Section 2. The internal shift, leading the self.
This historical evolution brings us to a harsh but essential truth about the modern workplace. True leadership begins entirely internally. A lot of people chase these high-level roles while being completely blind to their own temperaments or core motivations. And you know what? That lack of self-awareness is exactly why their downfall can be so unbelievably swift. If you want to lead, you must conquer self-mastery first. That means conquering your own temper and impulsiveness before you even attempt to manage the incredibly unpredictable nature of other human beings. You have to adapt to your environment. If you're short-tempered, if you haven't mastered your own emotions, your self-centeredness basically guarantees failure. Even if you're only leading a tiny team of 2 people, you just can't guide others if you are constantly being hijacked by your own emotional impulses.
Section 3. Managing teams like characters, the objective approach.
So, if we actually manage to conquer our own emotions, how do we effectively manage a team full of people who all have incredibly diverse, often very unpredictable needs? Honestly, leading people is so much more challenging than just managing a project spreadsheet or launching a product. The core strategy here is absolutely brilliant. You need to think like a writer. View your team members as characters, complete with their own distinct shortcomings and unique temperaments. Why is this so game-changing? Because it helps you detach emotionally. Think about it. When a character in a book acts out, the author doesn't take it personally, right? By viewing your team objectively, you stop taking offense at every minor provocation. You stop acting purely in response to external pressure. Remember, resolve strengthens with time, so viewing them as characters helps you avoid making terrible reactive decisions while under duress.
Section 4. The modern hurdle, the trap of instant gratification.
Now, actually applying this writer's mindset and maintaining objective patience is incredibly difficult today, and that's due to a very specific modern hurdle. Our society has completely normalized the pursuit of instant gratification. Just think about how much our world has changed. In ancient times, delivering a message could take months, sometimes years. Today, a WhatsApp message informs your distant relatives about a family event in literally milliseconds. We've got fast food, instant porridge, ready-made pasta, you name it. Our brains are continuously being rewired to expect an immediate result for almost every single action we take.
And here is the major problem. We carry this exact expectation of absolute immediacy straight into our leadership roles. We expect people to grasp complex concepts instantly. We expect everyone to possess a perfectly uniform level of common sense. And we completely fail to appreciate their wildly diverse temperaments. But here's the reality: you cannot fast-track human nature. You just can't. Profound patience is a defining, non-negotiable characteristic of a successful leader. You really have to give people the time they require to process, adapt, and grow.
Section 5. The counterintuitive path to influence. Validating others.
If patience is the foundation of your leadership, the actual execution of your authority, like how you actually get people to buy into your vision, is entirely counterintuitive. It is not about walking into a room and just dominating the conversation. To truly build influence, you need to shift your focus drastically. The most effective path to influence is actually to step out of the spotlight yourself. Think of it like a pie chart, where a massive 50% of your effort goes toward validating their opinions and values as worthy of recognition. Let them speak. Give them the spotlight 30% of the time. Demonstrate genuine support for the causes they champion. This kind of genuine attention is incredibly rare in the modern workplace, and people desperately desire it. By validating them, you lower their defensive barriers, which miraculously opens their minds to that remaining 20%, the actual ideas you want to introduce.
Of course, out in the real world, you are occasionally going to encounter individuals who are exceptionally stubborn and seemingly unwilling to compromise on anything. These folks can make leadership feel completely unbearable. When you inevitably face them, whatever you do, do not react impulsively. Instead, try following a simple three-step approach. First, examine the roots of their defiance. Understand their background to gain some actual insight into their behavior. Second, if their stubbornness stems from a deep dislike of authority, reframe things. Frame their cooperation as a way to actually help themselves. And third, delegate real responsibility to them. Give them a first-hand experience of the complexities of leadership. By doing this, you exercise subtle control without their conscious awareness, and they'll slowly begin to understand the reasoning behind your decisions because, well, they're now experiencing the weight of responsibility for themselves.
We're going to wrap up this explainer with a thought I want to leave you pondering. Are you truly leading your team, or are you just reacting to their unpredictable nature? Remember, true leadership is definitely not about the job title or the authority you hold on paper. It's about the resolve, the strategic calculation, and the profound patience that you cultivate within yourself first. Lead yourself, master your own impulses, and the influence over others will naturally follow. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this incredible material, and I'll see you in the next explainer.